There's a bit of a woke theme going through this show because listen to this. The British military thought, well, the world's getting very dangerous. It's time we practice firing our super weapon, one of our nuclear missiles, as a test, not for real bomb. And now the last time they tried this was 12 years ago, right? And it worked. And they tried again 8 years ago, but it didn't. It failed. So I thought, ooh. So out went HMS Vanguard, a submarine, about 2 weeks ago, to try. We only just got out the news to try again. Let's have another test fire. It's been so long. How embarrassing! A second misfire, plop, like that. That's 2 failed firings in a row of Britain's ultimate weapon. And to make it worse, this news is broken at the same time as the army has allowed soldiers, men, identifying as women, to live in women-only accommodation. Joining me from London is Patrick Christys, star presenter on GB News. Patrick, you've been going to town on this. Britain seems to me to be in perfect shape to win the woke war, but not in shape to fight a world war.
Yeah, look, absolutely. Our missiles are impotent, Andrew, but I tell you what isn't, the blokes that we're putting in women's barracks at the moment. I mean, it is absolutely shocking. It's the second failure in a row. It cost us £17 million to plop this thing to the bottom of the ocean. I mean, the other big scandal is the fact that this leaked out as well. I mean, there's serious question marks as to how on earth this actually even managed to get into the press. That's not a good look, but it's the latest in a long line of actual military failures. So we've had aircraft carriers that couldn't make it onto NATO exercises. The government had to deny allegations that they'd refitted one aircraft carrier but accidentally programmed it to only go in reverse. We've had recruitment adverts for our armed forces that have included somebody pausing in a battlefield to do the call to prayer. We've had all sorts of this stuff. We've had the RAF having to pay people out in compensation because they internally said that they didn't want any more useless white male recruits and then held back men from passing their progress because they hadn't hit their diversity targets. So we are now genuinely putting diversity over national defence. It's absolutely remarkable. So yes, I'm sure Putin is quaking in his boots.
It's frightening. I didn't pick up on that issue. You're quite right. I mean, that the news got out that it hasn't been able to fire a successful nuclear missile for years now. 2 failures in a row, that would be damaging. But I don't know. Apparently they didn't learn from the last one, Patrick, so maybe it needed to get out to get a move on. But I tell you what, the one thing that hasn't come out here might be the crucial detail. Did they at least do the right thing and paint that failed missile in the rainbow colours?
Yeah, absolutely. No, 100%. It was a rainbow-coloured missile, and that's exactly the right thing. So, and it couldn't have fired, you know, I mean, it would have been absolutely atrocious. So, yes, no, I believe as well that they are launching an urgent mission, spearheaded by Greta Thunberg, to pick this thing up off the bottom of the ocean, because we can't litter the bottom of the sea. We can't have plastics or indeed nuclear missiles anywhere near the bottom of the sea. The government, by the way, is trying to put an incredible spin on this, saying that this is actually a good thing, okay? Because what we've done now is we've learnt from our mistakes. And this missile, Andrew, it had to go through something like 119 different checks in order for us to press the button that was going to launch it. And all of those checks worked incredibly well. It just failed at the last moment. So we can all sleep easy. It turns out this is actually a good thing.
Well, the thing is, of course, it needed 120 checks. There's your problem right there. But, Patrick, you know, it's so weird. You know, Britain used to rule the waves, as you say, with the biggest NATO exercise in, I don't know what it was, 20 years or something, happening just a couple of weeks ago, starting a couple of weeks ago. You couldn't even get an aircraft carrier that was supposed to lead the charge out in the water because of this problem. I mean, this is starting to be really serious. Britain has always punched diplomatically well above its weight. It's a member of the UN Security Council still, one of the 5 permanent members. And it's a joke. It is a joke, like all this woke nonsense. I mean, isn't there a public outrage about it?
Yeah, the public is outraged because also we are spending billions and billions and billions of pounds and our government has decided to put a huge amount of stock in military nuclear deterrence, I should say, which is fine if it works, which the latest indication is that it doesn't, so there is that. The other aspect of this is that we're doing things like, modern warfare, hybrid warfare. So it comes to things like drones, etc., etc. Now, that's fine. But actually, as we are seeing in Ukraine and with Russia, etc., there is a place for conventional military defence, right? And Britain has always punched well above its weight. Britain has always been a plucky little nation. And frankly, if we've got a recruitment crisis and we're too focused on managing to try to entice people of a diverse background into our armed forces as opposed to actually manning the armed forces, pun intended, then we have got a massive problem.
Same problem right here, mate. Exactly the same problem. The demonisation of your past, the tribalising, the multiculturalising, all that kind of stuff. Who would risk their life to save a country that they're told is rotten? Meanwhile, it's symbolic, I think, that Prince William got involved in politics and foreign affairs, calling for an end to Israel's war with the Hamas terrorist group, saying, well, too many have been killed. I, like so many others, want to see an end to the fighting as soon as possible. It's critical that aid gets in and the hostages are released. You might say, well, look, he's having a bet each way. Sounded a bit too much like a ceasefire, which is exactly what Hamas wants. But anyway, is giving advice like that his job?
Well, no, it's not his job. And a lot of people are saying, well, our future king has made his first mistake. I love Prince William, but it's not his first mistake. He's got into bed with the Green lobby as well. And he does seem to be getting involved with some causes that people think are not really his place. It also had absolutely zero effect, OK? Because despite his intervention, last night in Parliament, all three major political parties decided to vote like the People's Front of Judea on a very slightly different version of a ceasefire. In the end, everyone walked out. We didn't get a vote on anything. Meanwhile, we had a baying mob outside. I spoke to one of them. He's absolutely convinced that October the 7th was some kind of weird Zionist conspiracy theory. So you've got a baying mob out there now dictating what goes on in our House of Commons, because one of the reasons why MPs didn't vote was because apparently they're too afraid for their own safety. So I'm sorry, but they've now created a complete mess where they've allowed a load of people into our society that frankly hate us, and now their safety means that, oh, we couldn't possibly vote on this, we're too scared. Meanwhile, plebs like you and I, we just have to live in this mess at the moment. So Prince William's intervention achieved absolutely naff all, and frankly, neither did any of our politicians.
Well, I've actually seen some of the pro-Palestinian protesters, a mob, a couple of your senior Labor MPs, even the Labor ones. It is intimidating, but as you say, this is the consequence of earlier decisions. Patrick Christys, thank you so much indeed for your time. Really appreciate it.